The brightest face in this painting does not belong to the captain. It belongs to a child. She is running through a picture of armed men dressed in the company's blue and gold, and from her belt hangs a dead bird, its claws turned deliberately into the light. Nobody agrees who she is. Why is the brightest thing in a painting of soldiers a small girl no one can name? Why does the most famous painting in the Netherlands go by a name that is wrong? And what did Amsterdam do to its own masterpiece 300 years ago to make it fit between two doors? The Night Watch, Rembrandt van Lijn, Amsterdam, 1642. Almost nothing about it is what it seems. Look at it whole. 29 people, near life-size, caught in the second before a march begins. Amsterdam's musket militia, 1642. 18 of them were real. They paid to be in this picture, about 100 guilders each. We know because 2 of them said so years later when an investigation into Rembrandt's finances counted what he had been paid. Their names were added on a shield later by another hand. The company ordered the painting for the hall where they met, one of 6 commissioned for the largest, most prestigious room in the city. So walk it along the light, from the girl, out through the lit men, into the darkness the centuries added, and past the edges of the canvas itself. Every stop on that route hides something. Start with the 11 people who were never there. 11 of these 29 are not portraits at all. Rembrandt invented them and put them in among the paying men to turn a list of names into a scene. The result is a crowd in motion. A powder boy waits at the front, a drummer practices, an officer lifts the company flag, and Rembrandt gave 3 of the men a job. One man handles his musket, so does a second further back, and a third, but not in the same way. Each of them performs a different step of the drill, one after another across the canvas, the 3 basic movements every musketeer had to learn. A weapons manual, acted out inside a group portrait. These were the musketeers of Amsterdam, and their painting quietly demonstrates the musket, invented people among the real, and deliberate things wherever you look. And the deliberateness goes further. Hidden in plain sight, the painting spells out its owner's name, twice. Go back to the girl's dead bird and look at what the light lands on, the claws. The men in this picture called themselves kloveniers, now say the Dutch word for claw, klauw, and there is a second echo, the Dutch word for the butt of a gun, kloven. Look across the picture. Cloven, fist after fist. The gun butts are the name. The claws are the name. Cloven, klauw, kloveniers. Rembrandt signed the company into its own painting twice, once in the wood of the guns, once in a dead bird's feet, and he hung the second signature at the brightest point of the canvas, on the belt of a running child. None of this is accident. The men have their jobs, the light has a grammar, the bird is a pun. Which makes the next fact stranger. Nobody has ever worked out what all of this is for. Behind the company stands a great stone archway. It reads as a city gate. It is not one. No gate in Amsterdam matches it, and the scholars who have searched conclude that Rembrandt, it seems, invented the architecture himself. As for the occasion, no one has ever established it. One hypothesis says the company is assembling to escort a visiting queen, Henrietta Maria of England, through the city that same year. Another points to the visit of Maria de' Medici 4 years earlier. Hypotheses, neither confirmed. Hold that honestly. The grandest group portrait in Dutch history shows an invented place on a day no one can identify. In 1642, none of that seemed to trouble anyone. What mattered was what people said when they stood in front of it, and what they said is not the story everyone tells. Leave the painting for a moment. The story everyone tells about it goes like this. Amsterdam hated it. The sitters complained about their likenesses, the public recoiled from the shadows. The commission wrecked Rembrandt's career, and the greatest picture of the Dutch Golden Age ruined the man who made it. The misunderstood genius, the masterpiece as downfall. The trouble with that story is the people who were actually there. Samuel van Hoogstraten, a painter writing while men who had seen it knew were still alive, recorded that the picture was so powerful that, some said, the paintings hung beside it seemed like playing cards. One early account says it made Rembrandt's name and left him better known than almost any painter in the country. The scholars who traced the rejection story back call it what it is, a myth. The stock legend of the unrecognized genius, written onto a man whose picture was, by the surviving evidence, admired. Which leaves the real question. If Amsterdam admired it, how did it end up dark, wrongly named, and missing its edges? That is not a story about Rembrandt. That is a story about time. Go back to the picture. It reads differently now. Start with the darkness, because the darkness came first. For most of its life, this painting was far darker than Rembrandt left it. Varnish, layered and renewed, and browning as it aged, with the grime of 2 centuries settling into it. And in that gloom, in the later 1700s, the picture picked up a nickname. The Night Watch. A patrol in the dark. It is not night. When restorers cleaned it after the Second World War, daylight came out from under the varnish, falling from the top left, across the captain, across the girl. The company stands in the open in the day. The most famous title in Dutch art describes the dirt, not the painting. The 19th century had already called the title a misreading, born of darkened varnish and unfavourable light. A scholar named Pieter Scheltema was among the first to point out the error, and the company's own record agrees with him. In the captain's family album, beneath a watercolour of this painting, the subject is written down plainly. The young Lord of Permaland gives his lieutenant the order to march. An order to march. A beginning. That is what the dirt buried, and a wrong name kept buried. The dirt could be cleaned. The next thing time did could not be undone. In 1715, the city moved the painting out of the militia hall and into the town hall, to a room used by its war council. The wall chosen for it stood between 2 doors. The painting was bigger than the wall, so they cut it. Not Rembrandt. He had been dead for nearly half a century. City officials had the canvas trimmed to fit the space, and the records do not name who gave the order. They do not even agree on exactly what was lost. One account counts 2 figures gone. Another says every edge gave something up. The heaviest loss was on the left. But we know what the whole painting looked like. Decades before the cut, a painter named Gerrit Lundens had copied it, small, onto a panel, most probably for the captain himself. At the left edge of his copy stand people, and a piece of the world that the canvas in Amsterdam no longer has. Lundens was a minor painter. Few remember his name. His copy hangs in London, and it is the only complete record of what Rembrandt painted. The original survives in part. The whole survives in the copy of a man nobody remembers. And the cut was not the last of the damage. The painting was attacked in 1911. In 1975, a visitor slashed it, and it was afterwards restored. Trimmed, darkened, misnamed, attacked. And somewhere in those same centuries, this damaged thing became the painting of a nation. That did not happen by itself. After 1830, the new Dutch nation went looking for its past and found it in its painters, Rembrandt above all. In 1885, the Netherlands opened a purpose-built national museum, and at the end of its longest gallery, the Gallery of Honour, this painting was given the terminal wall. One scholar of the period describes the arrangement as an altar of national remembrance. A militia group portrait cut down to fit between two doors, now closing a museum like an apse. But being needed is not the same as being great. So look, one last time, at what Rembrandt actually did. This is what a militia painting was supposed to be. Rows of men at a banquet table, heads in one level band, most of them looking out at you. Frans Hals painted the finest of them. Now the captain. He is mid-stride and mid-order, hand out, walking out of the picture towards you, and the shadow of that hand falls across his lieutenant's yellow coat. The whole company is subordinated to one command in motion. The art historian Alois Riegel, who studied these group portraits more closely than anyone, called the result a complete surprise, even, he wrote, as a Hollandish work of any genre. Admired and unsettling. He argued those were the same fact, not failure, novelty. The man mid-stride was Frans Banninck Kock, Lord of Permeland, the son of an immigrant who had begged for a living in this city. He married the mayor's daughter and rose to command its militia. Rembrandt painted him at the moment of command and painted a genre breaking around him. That is what the shrine holds, not a solemn, dark icon. The moment a convention snapped. Come back to the hall one last time. An order to march, frozen, a signature in claws and gun butts. 11 people who never lived. A day no one can date, under an arch no one can find. Trimmed at the edges, named by its own dirt, and enshrined. And still, at the center of the light, the girl is running. Who is she? One reading says she is the company's emblem made flesh, the bird's claws their badge, carried through the crowd. Another, that she may be a sutler, one of the sellers who provisioned the militias. A 19th century scholar saw the bird as a trophy for a shooting contest. A French critic saw a rich man's child and called her a fairy's niece. 4 readings, 4 centuries, no agreement. She glows and runs and does not say. The strip Amsterdam cut away still exists in the copy in London. So decide for yourself. If the painting could be shown whole again, would you want to see it? Or has the cut canvas, the wrong name, the damaged survivor, become the real Night Watch? Whichever you decide, she will still be there, the brightest thing in the room, carrying the company's name at her belt, in a painting that goes by a name that is not its own.